What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Absolutely April, and I want to thank you for joining. We are going to talk about Ready to Love. We're on episode 7. This is the friend date. If you're new to my channel, welcome. This is Absolutely April. I want you to join my tribe. I do reality recaps on Married to Medicine, Married at First Sight, Ready to Love, and then a whole lot more. I give a lot of opinions, and I like to put a little spiritual spin on it. So, if you are back, I want to welcome you back to my channel. I appreciate you. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you'll be notified about all of my uploads. So, let's not belabor the point. Let's go ahead and get into the reality recap of Ready to Love, episode 7. So Tommy meets with the ladies. Let's put it right here. So Tommy meets with the ladies to tell them they're bringing their connections to meet their best friends. So we all know, if you've been a Ready to Love aficionado, you know that this is where the friends can kind of interrogate the connections. So this is what this whole episode is about. So Jamila sets up her date at her friend's house. Not sure why she didn't go to her own house. I don't really know. Maybe she don't want the cameras in her house. But she sets up the date at her friend's house. Randall will meet with her friend Melissa and her, who is her sorority sister, and another friend, Ashley. Now she doesn't hesitate to tell her friends that she calls him Rah Rah, and I really don't like that nickname for Randall. I don't know. It just I don't know. It Comment down below. Do you like the nickname Rah Rah for Randall? It's just Rah Rand. It doesn't even have the same sound. I don't know. But so she calls him, nevertheless, she calls him Rah Rah. And they are kind of taken aback that she's already have a nickname for him. So Randall pulls up in his Challenger. You know, a man in a Challenger. I don't know. When I see a Challenger, I just think of a man who I don't know. Usually, when you see a Challenger, you think they're F boys, but I don't know. But Randall pulls up in his Challenger. He's dressed like he's coming from the gym. So I don't know if he had a client before he met with his friends, but Randall, spruce up a little bit. You're gonna meet Jamila's friends. This is your strongest connection, and you just look like it's just another day at the gym. So Randall tells them he is new to Miami. As they come in, they make pleasantries. Randall tells them that he's new to Miami when they ask where he was from. He's new to Miami, originally from DC. They asked if he was running from anything. He says he wasn't, which is a very good question. And Jamila was like, you know what? I didn't think to ask that. So yeah, it was a really good question. Like, are you running from anything? Why did you just relocate to Miami? But he really didn't say why he relocated. He just said he wasn't running from anything. Um, they ask about other connections, and he lets them know that he does have two other connections. But Jamala feels more like his best friend. And oh my God, when he says that, Jamala melts. Jamala, come on now. You are 33. Stuff like this shouldn't still be making you get all bubbly inside, because you don't really, he has other connections. Like when you solidify stuff, maybe you can get the warm and fuzzy. But right now, I need you to be looking with a skeptical eye, and to understand that maybe Randall could not be feeling you exactly, the same way you're feeling him. Unless he's having some other conversation, y'all are not together. So it's just, I don't know. It does come across a little desperate from Jamila, the way she acts around Randall. But she's all in with Randall. That's her only connection. Her friends only met one guy, and she's putting all her eggs in the basket with Randall. So no pressure, Randall. Randall says he feels good about his connection with Jamila. I mean, he should. I mean, she is basically throwing herself at him, so he knows exactly where Jamila stands. However, does Randall know where he stands? Because he still is thinking, hard about Trinika and Kayla. So, or could this be a whole Clifton situation where he knew that he wanted Joy, but he kind of strung along. What was the other girl name? I don't remember her name, but he strung along the other girl until he couldn't string her along anymore. Um, so when Randall leaves, Jamila's friends said that they feel good and feel like he is genuine and they approve of her connection with him. So that's right up Jamila's alley. She is wanting Rara. So hopefully she ends up with Rara at the end of this because I don't know what she's going to do with herself should she not end up with Randall. So Katie meets with her friend Ching to introduce her to Swayze. Her friend says that she's going to gut Swayze like a fish. So she's coming in already with the intentions on making Swayze squirm a little bit. Now what for? I don't know, but she seems to have the same combative type energy as Katie. So I can see why they're friends, but I don't know if that's necessarily what you need on a date. I'd rather you be more discerning versus combative because that like why like I don't want to intentionally make someone upset, but I do want to ask questions for understanding. So her friend says she's gonna gut Swayze like a fish. She asks, so when Swayze gets there, they make pleasantries. She asks Swayze, is he a serial app dater? And he said he's on some apps. And I mean, that's not really a red flag because he is single. So it shouldn't be that big of a deal that he's on some apps. He said he's been single for 3 years. So he's just been on and off dating with different ladies for 3 years. He hasn't settled down with anyone. So Ching asked him why he likes Kadian. Now this is where we come in with the problematic Swayze comments because he says he just says, well, look at her. Swayze, why do you like Kadian? Why? That's not saying, well, look at her. You're not saying anything specific. So I'm looking at my notes. So as the friend presses a little bit more, he says that she is his type. So what type is that, Swayze? What is your type? And he was like, any type. What? Swayze, any type? You just out here laying it low and spreading it wide. Any type. Anybody who throws it at Swayze gonna catch it and you his type. I mean, that wouldn't make me feel warm and fuzzy if I was Katie and like I'm just any old type. I mean, and then so Katie is saying like, well, I'm not Latin. And so why she said that. So the friend was like, oh, so you like Latin women. And he says he's been dating Latin women for the past 3 years. Now, the friend says that that is a red flag for her because all the time he's been on this dating app for 3 years, he has not felt the need to date a Black woman. Every one of them had to be a Latina. So Swayze is getting annoyed at this point. Like he's completely annoyed because he feels like they are not understanding where he comes from. But Swayze, my love, you are not explaining yourself. And I don't even see it as a bad thing that you dating nothing but Latina women because you're in Miami. But just say that, like, okay, that's what I've been attracted to for the past 3 years. But now I'm attracted to Kadian. That doesn't make me a bad person because I'm attracted to a specific type of person. And that maybe, he does say he like any type, so maybe that's the one who was giving him play. So I don't know. The line of questioning I think was making him look at like he don't like black women. And I don't think that that's the case. But you have to consider all things. Like he is in Miami. There is a lot of Latina women in Miami. And Swayze's he's young. And if you got a preference, you got a preference. So I don't know. So her Katie's friend is like, I'm black and Asian. I guess she identifies as being a black woman, and she says it's a red flag for her. So Swayze gets annoyed. He wraps up this whole date, and like, I'm out. I'm leaving. I'm done. So Katie runs after him and was like, are you gonna really leave like this? He is. I think Katie saw it as like almost like a joke a little bit because she seemed like she was kind of laughing that Swayze had gotten so annoyed. And she runs after him. Swayze gives her a little half. He gave her a church hug, and he got the hell on up out of there. So Swayze was heated. Let me tell you, Swayze was heated, and I kind of would feel like because it was an interrogation, she came in with the intention of interrogating, and I don't think he was ready for it. I think he might because him and Katie have always had this little banter going back and forth, like they give each other a hard time, but it's always been a lighthearted banter. This was something else, and Swayze was not prepared. But I do like the fact that it did come up. Swayze couldn't explain himself, and I think it would have if he had calmed down a little bit, he probably could have explained himself a little better, and he probably wouldn't have gotten as heated. With that, because someone else should not make you that upset, Swayze. It shouldn't have gotten to that level of being as upset. You should just explain yourself, and you a grown ass man. Why? I mean, it doesn't really matter what your dating preferences are. If I'm saying that I'm interested in Katie, then then she's my preference. Now granted he couldn't explain why he likes her, but he likes her. I mean, I guess who knows? Who really knows with Ready to Love? So I don't know. But comment down below. What do you feel like? Do you feel like Swayze doesn't like black women? I mean, because he said, he's saying his mama is black, his daughter is black, his baby mama is black. So it's not that he doesn't like black women. I don't know. How do y'all feel about that? I feel like Swayze is just drawn to whoever he's drawn to. And it's just no rhyme or reason. I don't think he goes after a specific person, but maybe, he's in Miami. So moving on, Trinika has her two friends meet with her three connections. Trinika has three whole connections. So her friends are I think Jessica, who's a pilot, and Dr. Bridget, who of course is a doctor. So LJ arrives and Jessica brings out her index card. So she is prepared. She asks, how would he shield Trinika? And LJ says that he believes that as a role as a man, that he is to be his woman's protector and in a relationship. So the next question she asks, where did he see himself in 5 years? And he says a millionaire and with a woman like Trinika by his side. Now I don't know if LJ is going to be a millionaire from singing, but he's not the best singer. So maybe he has some other businesses up his sleeve that he hasn't really talked about on the show, but he plans to be a millionaire. Okay, LJ, let's be a millionaire. So Justice arrives. Justice arrives and he comes in all of his arrogance. And he says, in his confessional, he's saying, whatever question they give him, he is going to be able to answer. He said, he can go down the spiritual alley. He can go down this alley because, guess what? Justice is the alley. Justice is the truth and the light. Justice is the second coming. Mark my words. So Justice says he is the alley. So as he sits down, Jessica with the cards asks him, has he ever been disloyal? And Justice says that he has played professional basketball, and yes, he has been disloyal. Now, Justice said he played professional basketball. Now, rewind a couple, was it last episode where, yeah, I believe it was last episode where they went on a trampoline date, and Justice didn't appear to have any athleticism in his body. So I was kind of surprised when he said he played professional basketball. That was different. um so no, not Dr. Jessica, just Jessica, she asked Justice the same question. Where does he see himself in 5 years? Now, of course, Justice can't keep, not make anything difficult. He says he's going to leave that to God. He's a surrender. He surrenders. He submits to God. Whatever God has for him in 5 years, that is what God has for him. And so Dr. Bridget, further asked, well, what do you want? We get the whole, God, what God has for me. That's a perfect spiritual answer. What would you want? Like, if you could dream of anything in 5 years for yourself, what would it be? Whatever God has for him, that's what he says. And he references Jeremiah 29 and 11. For I know the plans that I have for ooh. It's like, for I know the plans that I have for you, and it's the plans of peace and all that kind of stuff. So he says, he tries, he's not answering the question. Like, this is like, what do you like? You're Justice, you're into event planning. So why not talk about where you see your business going in 5 years? Maybe you're going to be the best event planner in Miami. Maybe you're going to span to another state. You're event planner to another state. Are you going to do, come on now, like, say something. You ain't say nothing. You just, whatever God has for you. Very vague, very basic. You don't want to be vulnerable. You don't want people to really get to know you because you might be hiding something. That's what I feel. And so he further explains to the lady, I try to be simplistic because I'm so complicated. He's so complicated that no one else can understand him. He's so complicated that a doctor and a pilot would not be able to understand how complicated he is. Justice is just too smart for everybody. Why is justice is just the gift that keeps on giving. So here come Randall. Randall walks in, he's feeling confident. He said he wants to stunt on the fellas because he wants to walk in with all his 6'5"ness and show the ladies what he's working with. So Randall walks in with his hoochie daddy shorts on, again looking like he came straight from the gym. And they asked where he works, probably because the way he dressed. He came in looking really gym-like. And he says he works for a fitness company. They ask if he's a ladies' man, and he says he can be because, he knows how to talk and he can be very friendly. So that can be construed as being a ladies' man. So Justice is over there because they all at the same table. I wish it would have kind of been separate, but Justice is at at the table looking less than amused. He's looking like this, like, why am I here? So he doesn't. I mean, either he is upset that Randall came in and he feels Randall is competition for him. I really don't know what that was all about, but Justice definitely wasn't amused. So as they asked if he and Trinika, so Jessica and Dr. Bridget asked Randall if he and Trinika have been kissing, making little kissy faces. And so Randall said, they had a little something. So Randall is kissing everybody. Randall and Kayla, they are made for each other. They around here kissing everybody. But I guess it's not that big of a deal because what? They are dating. They are in a dating set. They're in a dating type, scenario. So you if you're feeling in the moment that you want to kiss somebody, I don't think is anything wrong with kissing someone. So as when he heard that, Justice was he was like annoyed to the highest degree at this point. So Justice says their connection has changed after finding out about all the Trinica connections. So he feels like he's tapping out. He isn't gonna run after a woman, and she needs to show him something. Again, Justice feels he is the prize, so people should flock to him and run after him. So at that point, Justice tells the group, "Look, I need to leave. I got to be out." So he gets up out of there because he's uncomfortable. He can't handle any type of competition. So as all the men leave, Dr. Bridget immediately tells Trinica she don't like Justice. She don't like Justice. Can you blame her? She called Justice the Joker. She says that she could smell Justice's BS from a mile away. And she also picked up that Justice uses his spirituality to kind of manipulate and draw women in. She says more than once that Justice is not a nice man. So comment down below, do you think Justice uses his spirituality as a manipulation? I definitely can agree with Jessica in her point of view, because Justice says a lot of stuff, as it relates to spirituality, and he's really not saying anything. And I guess to someone who may be new to spirituality, or maybe someone who doesn't know as much about spirituality, you would think, oh my God, he's so deep. He's so deep. He makes me think about spirituality, and I mean he just talks about the cosmic connection, and so we have a cosmic connect. Like he doesn't, ladies, he's not saying anything. He's not. I bet if you talk to him and really get into conversations about spirituality, Justice could not answer those questions. He's just saying a bunch of points that that anyone can say. Oh, I like our energy. I like our cosmic connection. How the cosmic connection? And the energy that you give to people, Justice, is always horrible energy. So for you to be so zen and so so cosmically aligned, you would think you would get your chakras right, brother. Get your chakras in order. So when you exude your energy, that people feel that you are welcoming and not feel like you smell like boo-boo. Yeah. So Dr. Bridget, she doesn't want to continue to talk about Justice the Joker. She says that she feels like LJ is genuine. And she feels that Randall comes across as a ladies' man. So, that's pretty much accurate, because Randall got 3 connections and he can't decide who he wants, but Jamila is his best friend. So Sharice brings her friend Rochelle to meet Samson. So Rochelle, she said, has seen her in different type of relationships and scenarios. So she felt like Rochelle would be a good indicator on, on how serious Samson is about her. Now I want to know how serious Samson is about her too, because I'm not getting that Samson is really into anybody. Samson comes across to me like a salesman, like a used car salesman. He's doing all the he's lighthearted, he's bubbly, he's asking you questions, he's engaging, but he really ain't saying nothing either. He's not being vulnerable. He's not really I don't see where he's really letting people in. He is putting up a facade, and it comes to me across as a salesperson. Let me morph into what I feel like you want. And then it's also a form of manipulation. So the scene flips to Kayla's friend. Kelly meets Randall and Mike. She tells Randall that, she tells Randall he's very quiet. No, so Kayla is telling her that Randall is very quiet. She's giving her the rundown. Randall is very quiet and he's a personal trainer, but she has this connection, probably sexual connection to Mike. Go look at his IG, ladies. And that she can't deny, but he does have another connection. So Kayla is enamored with Mike's sexuality. They have this chemistry that he exudes, and she is drawn to it. Randall is not overly sexual, so she, that's not what's pulling her in. He has this quiet charisma, he has this laid back type mentality. Like, I'm going to be, a little suave, So she said, Kayla tells her friend that she can't deny this connection with Mike, but however, he does have another connection with another young lady. So Kelly, Kayla's friend, immediately says, "Oh, you just gonna ignore the red flags." Catch that. So Samson arrives at Sharice. We, flipping back and forth. Samson arrives to Sharice's home and meets Rochelle. And everyone seeing, Samson, he doesn't come off as problematic. Samson comes in, greeting everyone. The dog likes him. So everybody is Team Samson at this point. So meanwhile, moving on back to Kayla's date, Mike arrives and he says he wants to address her connection with Randall. Why do you want to address her connection with Randall? Because you have a connection with Brandy, right? So why are you harping on Kayla having this connection with Randall when you know you have a connection with someone else as well? So I don't know. It's like Mike is trying to be like controlling over the whole situation. So Kelly, asked about his connection, asked Mike about his connection with Kayla. And he says he doesn't really like that she has kissed other guys. And Kelly reminds him that they are not in a relationship, which I totally agree with. She can kiss whoever she wants. They're not in an exclusive relationship. So what does it matter? Why? The only reason you know that she's kissed someone else is because you are on a show. And Mike, please don't tell me you ain't kissed Brandy. You basically dipped grapes in her mouth like they were balls. So I know y'all done been intimate. Brandy is head over heels over Mike. So something happened. I promise you that. I promise you that. It may not have shown it, but Mike and Brandy, something went down. So Mike says, he can't control how he feels. He's just upset that Kayla has kissed other people, even though that's not even his main connection. So Kelly, she's like, I feel like that's petty. And I feel like that too, Kelly. I agree. So moving on back to Rochelle, back to Samson and Sharice. Rochelle asked Samson about his expectations, and he said he would love to be married and engaged within a year. And so she was like, within a year? He was like, you know how old I am? 48. Like, so he's ready to get moving. However, I'm not really sure that that's the case. I don't get that with Samson at all. I'm not buying this connection with Sharice or any other connection that Samson has. Samson don't have no real connections, in my opinion. So Randall, moving back to Kayla's date, Randall shows up at the dinner with Kayla. Kelly asked about his other connections, and he does admit to having other connections. Of course, we all know he has connection with Jamala and a connection with Tramika. She asks if Kayla is his strongest connection, and he says one of them. So let's use our vocabulary. So strongest, it would be is no two can't be your strongest. One has to be strongest. So there's only one. So he says one of them. So again, Randall's being very vague at where he stands and who he really likes. But Jamala is his best friend. So I would think that that gives Jamala the edge over Kayla, but who knows in Randall's mind. Mike brings up that Randall's lips are the ones that are on Kayla's lips. And so he is still harping on this dang on kiss between Randall and Kayla. Like, Mike, you sound salty, you sound petty, just like Kelly said. So Samson, back to Sharice and Samson. Samson leaves Rochelle. He says he has to leave. And so Rochelle gives Sharice the thumbs up. She feels like they have a great connection and he is ready to love. So Sharice says she feels like her connection with Samson could be the one. No, Sharice, and don't bet on it. Samson is life counseling you to death. He is manipulating you. He don't have no connection with you. Sorry, I don't buy it. He is a salesman. So back to Kayla and Kayla's date with her friends. Randall toasts to having more time with Kayla because he feels like more time is what they need to solidify their connection. So Mike feels like he's still on the fence with Kayla. So they end up leaving after the toast. Kelly feels that Mike wasn't straightforward and he isn't giving Randall the time of day. However, Kelly felt like Randall was giving Kayla a lot of eye contact throughout the date, but he couldn't get the eye contact back from Kayla because she was so busy looking at Mike and engaging with Mike. So Kayla said Randall is the type that she should pursue because Mike is not being genuine and he doesn't feel like he has a connection with her. So Kelly votes for Randall. And at this point, Kayla's crying because she knows that Mike is probably no good for her and that she should pursue someone more along the lines of a Randall for a long-term commitment. So moving on, Brandy meets with her friend Nakota to speak with Samson and Mike. Now, where Samson come from, Brandy? Because all before it's been all about Mike. The only thing we knew about Samson was when last day when he brought you a book, a journal or something, and you questioned him last week about his authenticity and giving everybody a gift. So I'm like, where's Samson come from? But okay. Brandy and Samson. So Samson walks in. He brings her tulips, and they, as they go for a hug, they have kiss on the lips. Brandy. Mike don't like other men's lips on his woman. So I don't know what Mike gonna do when he find out that Samson lips been on yours, because Samson probably gonna say something in the lounge with the men, and Mike is not gonna be happy, girl. I don't know what you gonna do, but even though it was a mistake, I don't know. Samson gonna spend it like a mistake. They lips y'all touched, and Mike ain't gonna be happy about that, girl. But we'll see. Looney meets with so now let me go over to another date. Looney meets with her friend Ebony to talk to LJ and Justice. Justice shows up. And Ebony asks, asks Justice what he does, and he says that he does event planning. And she was like, "Do you do weddings?" He said, "I do weddings and bar mitzvahs." I don't want to stereotype, but I don't know too many men who are straight that do event planning and do it well. So I'm very shocked that he is as detail oriented, because in event planning, because Justice don't seem like he welcomes anybody's opinion. So I'm thinking, as an event planner, if I'm telling you what my vision is, to me, the way Justice act, he would probably be like, no, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. This is what we're gonna do. Like, he's the type of person like, now I ain't asked you for all of this. I wanted this. So I don't know if I would ever hire Justice to be an planner for me. I would need to see your portfolio, bro. Mm-mm. So meanwhile, going back to Brandy and Samson's date, Brandy and Samson, they talk about the connection, and she says she didn't know how she felt about Samson because he never told her how he felt about her. Like, she don't know where she's staying with them, with Samson. Yeah, Brandy, we don't even know why Samson is on the date, but okay. But Samson said, well, let me make it clear. I am attracted to you, Brandy. Salesperson, salesperson, red flag. I'm telling you, he's a salesperson. I would be surprised if he did sales as a career. If he didn't, he needs to look into it because he would make a great salesperson. So he makes it clear to her that he's very interested in her and attracted to her. So Brandy is like, okay, she ain't feeling him. So here come Mike. Mike comes in bearing gifts. Now, in his date with Kayla, did Mike bring a gift? No. But with Brandy, he comes bearing gifts for her friend and her. So Mike is being more intentional with Brandy, not Kayla. So they Kayla Kayla's connection with Mike is strictly physical. And I'm almost willing to say, just go ahead, get the physical over with, and get it over with, because the tension between them two, Kayla and Mike, it just like is so thick between both of them. Mike feels it, and so does Kayla feel it. I wish y'all just go ahead and do the do and get it over with. But I don't know. Brandy might cut you to the white meat, Mike. So I don't know. So meanwhile, back at Brandy's date with Mike, Mike says, Nakota asked Mike if he was open to having more children, because Mike has said before that he don't want any more kids. Now he says he's open to it. That's not a yes or a no, Brandy. He's being vague. Somebody who wants children, they would know if they want more children. Do not get into a relationship with him, Brandy, and you want kids. You want somebody who is a solid yes. Yes, I want more kids. Mike is too wishy-washy on the topic, and I don't want you to waste all your good juices and all your good years on a man who does not want to have another child. So Samson knows that Brandy and Mike, as the day goes on, Samson, he said, I'm not a fool. He knows that Brandy and Mike are, more in sync than he and Brandy, but that's not going to make him want to give up on the connection. So Samson is saying, I can worm myself on in here. Samson is a salesperson, and he knows how to get to, find out what you're looking for, to ask those specific questions, to kind of become that chameleon of a man. That it's a form of manipulation. I'm telling you. After the men leave, Brandy asks, like, so what's your opinion? Like, who do you think I should be with? Nakota couldn't tell you. She said, at first, when Samson walked in, talking to him, I was like, yeah, team Samson. Then here comes Mike, talking and bringing gifts and stuff. And now I don't know. I can't say. So Nakota was no help for Brandy. Brandy, you need Trinika's friends. Basically, you need Trinika's friends, because Trinika's friends they were very decisive and gave Trinika very good and sound advice. So LJ feels, so back at Looney's date, LJ arrives, and he feels that Justice has the upper hand on him as it relates to Looney. Ebony feels like her vote would be for Justice as it relates to Looney. She feels like Looney would walk all over LJ. So now moving back to Looney's Day, because I don't think I talked about it. I think I skipped over it. But on Looney's Day, what made me know that Looney ain't feeling LJ was when LJ said to Looney, like, I've called Looney and she's never returned any of my calls. And so Looney says, you know what, I'm not a phone person. Looney, like, I must have missed the whole thing. Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped over a whole thing about Looney. So, Looney's friend, Ebony, asked Justice about sex, and he said he don't have to touch anybody to have sex with you because he could have sex with your mind. Yeah, no, it's a no, Justice. 'Cause you're not saying nothing. So Ebony asked LJ the same question. He says he's an island boy and he wouldn't be able to wait 90 days for not having sex. So LJ also says that Looney isn't returning his calls, like I was saying, and Looney says she isn't a phone person. So, but I feel like if you are into someone, regardless if you're a phone person or not, you're gonna call them back, you're gonna text, you're gonna have some interaction with them because you're gonna want to talk to them. You don't want to talk to LJ. LJ is friend zone for you, Looney. Stop dragging this man along. You don't like LJ like that. You really don't. And you didn't like him when he was calling you when he had COVID, but you just, you were enamored at the fact that he was at least reaching out to you, but you really didn't, you don't, LJ is not your type, Looney. But I get it. You want to stay on the show. So the ladies meet back at the lounge. Brandy immediately says her friends couldn't choose between Samson and Mike, but she is leaning towards Mike. Kayla says her friends saw more of a connection, of the physical connection with Mike, um, but Randall would be better for her. Jamila didn't look enthused at that. So Jamila immediately says that her friends love Randall and he was the most comfortable he's ever seen with her. You know, Jamila is always trying to run up Kayla, and Kayla knows it because she gave her the side eye. Like, it's just, Kayla, I mean, Jamila is really coming up. Like, I don't know what she's gonna do with herself if her and in what's his name? Her and Randall don't work out. I was about to call him Jason because he reminds me of Jason. Remember Jason and Liz back in Houston? He reminds me of Jason. Um, Sharice says her friend was most impressed by Samson. So, and Looney says her friends were all Team Justice. I don't know why. Ebony, first of all, wasn't even asking good questions to even really get to know Justice, but okay. Tronika says her friends loved LJ and Randall. LJ was number one, and Randall was a close second for her. However, they called Justice the Joker, and that they could smell Justice dog crap from a mile away. So Looney is, defending her man. She was like, "No, that was a little extra," but it's true. Kaden said her friend and Swayze were combative, and she wants to talk to Swayze about her red flags before she discusses it in the lounge. Tommy wanted to get to know what the red flags was, but Kaden was like, "No, I would rather talk to him first." So Sharice interjects because Sharice, as she's talking, Sharice is sitting there like, I got something for your behind because you remember when she interjected with Zoe, talking about I've been talking to Zoe and all that stuff. So Sharice was like, yeah, keep talking. Soon as Katie finished, she was like, well, I've been talking to Swayze. I love it, Sharice. I love that you waited for that, put that trump card out there, girl. So she says she was upset, very upset, that Swayze was very upset after the date and he felt attacked. Yes, lay it on thick, Sharice. And that the fact that they insinuated that he only dates Latin women. His daughter is black, his mom is black, like and all that stuff. So Sharice is laying it on thick because first of all, Swayze went to Sharice to Cadian's, I guess, frenemy, enemy at this point, and and went to her about his issues with Kadian, giving Charisse all of the incentive to get back at Kadian the way she did her with Zoe. So you know Kadian was not happy about that, and I'm pretty sure Swayze got an earful when she did talk to him. And so Charisse said she asked Swayze, well, was Kadian drinking? Another hit, like Charisse. You is a sniper, girl. She's a sniper. She got Kadian. And, Swayze say, she always drinking. So basically, they calling you a low key drunk, Katie. They say you a drunk and you can't control your liquor and you just say whatever when you drinking. So so Kadian was like, well, I'll go ahead and discuss it since Charisse has already put it out on the table. And she said that she just found it odd that Swayze couldn't find any black women to date in his 3 years of being single, that he just particularly dated only Latina women. So it just came, it was a red flag for her. So she opens up about that. So now Tommy asks the ladies about their bottom, and immediately after, Looney was like, Swayze is in my bottom. I've never interacted with him. We never talked. And the fact that he don't like black women, that's another thing. So Katie was like, well, he didn't say that. But Looney was like, be that as it may, I've never talked to him. We've never had any discussion, so Swayze's in her bottom. Charisse again puts Mike at her bottom because Mike just will not budge on, when it says olive branch, Mike just like slaps it down. Brandy says LJ because he's just in a friend zone. Shanika says Justice because she's gonna rock with what her friend said, and she's gonna put Justice in the bottom. Jamala says LJ because he's been friend zone, and Kadian says LJ because again he's been friend zone. So LJ is in this friend zone type situation, and Justice is just full of crap. So at this point, LJ goes on a date with, who was it? I didn't write this in my notes, so I'm going off my memory. I apologize. But LJ goes on a date. Who was it? It wasn't, I don't know who it was that he goes on a date with to, tell him, Looney. He goes out with Looney and he's like, LJ already he knows the drill because he's been at the bottom. He said, I know that after a ladies lounge, if I'm getting called in for a date, it's not good. So LJ has his guards up and Looney is trying to, talk to him and tell him that, he's been friend zoned in a lot of situations. And she just, he needs to come out, I guess, from being in the friend zone. So she just immediately she tells him that he is still in the game. So LJ can breathe a sigh of relief. He's still in there. The ladies still like him. He's just friend zone. He's just a lovable, not Italian, island guy at this point for them. Kayla takes out Justice. Justice is, says Kayla looks good. She always look good. I don't know if Justice didn't realize that Kayla was coming to break it off with him. But, Justice probably, in all of his arrogance, like, why would anybody want to, send me home? I'm Justice. So Kayla's talking to him and she, breaks it to him and lets him know that, the ladies don't feel that he's ready to love. And, Justice being arrogant, like, it is what it is. Like Justice didn't, you're not going to see Justice sweat at all. He came across that he didn't care either way. So that's the episode. What do you all think? Comment down below. What would you rate this episode? I would probably give it probably about a good 7. Ready to Love is coming to an end. I'm not really seeing any genuine connections at this point. Will Packer people, in my Funky Duneva voice, I need y'all to make some serious changes because I don't know how long y'all gonna be able to keep this series going. It's becoming lackluster and it's not believable at this point. So yeah, comment down below. Tell me what you would rate this episode. And let's keep the engagement going. Again, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, join my tribe. This community is amazing. We are multifaceted people. We have opinions and we can get along with each other while we have our different opinions. So yeah, join my tribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell to be notified of all of my uploads. Have a great day. Don't forget to follow your passion and your path. Peace.